Hello everyone, Namaskar. Welcome to the basic course in Assamese designed to teach you basic listening, speaking, reading and writing skills while providing a descriptive overview of the language rules. This presentation focuses on the role of antonyms in Assamese language acquisition, highlighting their importance in vocabulary development. Vocabulary building is one of the most essential components of language learning. The richer our vocabulary is, the more effective we can communicate our thoughts, ideas, emotions, and observations. One of the best ways to strengthen vocabulary is by learning words in pairs, especially words that stand in opposition to one another. Such pairs help learners understand meaning not in isolation but in relation to contrast. For example, when we learn the meaning of the word dangor, that is big, our understanding becomes clearer and sharper when we also learn its opposite horu, which means small. This contrast creates a semantic boundary and makes meaning easier to grasp and remember. In Assamese, as in many other languages, antonyms play a significant role in everyday speech, literary expression, academic writing, and grammatical analysis. Antonym is known as biporit hobdo in Assamese. Antonyms are crucial for effective communication and linguistic expression. Similar to other languages, they help create contrast, comparison, emphasis, and clarity. Here, we will discuss antonyms in detail by looking at their meaning, semantic classification, their occurrence across different word classes such as nouns, adjectives, and verbs, their morphological formation, gender-based opposites, and their use in context. Let us begin with the basic understanding of what antonyms are. Antonyms are words that express opposite or contrasting meanings. In simple terms, if one word refers to a particular quality, state, action, or idea, its antonym refers to the reverse or opposite of that meaning. It is important to remember that antonyms are usually context dependent. For instance, the opposite of light can be dark if referring to illumination, or heavy if referring to weight. Let us consider a few simple examples such as dangor. Dangor means big versus horu. Horu means small. Here the first word refers to something large in size, while the second refers to something small. Another common example is bhal. Bhal means good versus bea. Bea means bad. These words express opposite evaluations or judgments. Similarly, we can take din. Din means day versus rati. Rati means night. This pair represents opposite periods of time in a day. Such oppositions are fundamental to language because they help speakers express contrast and distinction. Antonyms are especially useful in teaching vocabulary because learners can remember words more easily when they are introduced in semantic pairs. For instance, if a learner knows usso means high, it becomes easier to remember nimno, which means low, as its opposite. Let's now look at the semantic relationship among antonyms. Not all antonyms function in the same way. Linguistically, antonyms can be classified on the basis of their semantic relationship. One of the relationship types is gradability. So we can use gradable antonyms. These refer to opposite ends of a scale and allow intermediate degrees. For example, gorom. Gorom means hot versus thanda. Thanda means cold. These are opposite in meaning, but there are intermediate states such as kuhumia. Kuhumia means lukewarm. Usmo. Usmo means warm. Or sesa. Sesa means chill. Therefore, the opposition is not absolute. Another example is dhruto. Dhruto means first versus monthor. Monthor means slow. Speed exists on a scale. Something can be very fast, moderately fast, slow, or very slow. Similarly, usso means high versus nimno means low. Height or level can vary gradually. This type of antonym is very common in adjectives. Another type is complementary antonyms. These are absolute opposites where the existence of one automatically excludes the other. For example, zibito. Zibito means alive versus mrito. Mrito means dead. There is no middle ground or intermediate between these two states. Another example is hoitto. Hoitto means true versus ohoitto. Ohoitto means false. Something is either true or false in a strict logical sense. Similarly, upostit means present versus onupostit, which means absent. A person may be either present or absent. Another type is relational antonyms. These express opposite roles or perspectives within the same relationship. For example, dia. Dia means give versus lua. Lua means take. The same action is viewed from two opposite participants. Another example is kina. Kina means buy versus besa. Besa means sell. One person buys while another sells. Similarly, hika. Hika means learn versus hikua. Hikua means teach. These verbs reflect opposite roles in the process of education. Understanding these semantic distinctions is important because it helps learners go beyond memorization and develop analytical awareness of language. In the introduction, we have already examined several pairs of antonyms. To go into more detail, let's first explore noun antonyms. Nouns denote persons, places, things, ideas, states, and relationships. Let us look at some important examples such as din means day versus rati. Rati means night. As we have already come across, this pair denotes opposite divisions of time. Hook. Hook means happiness versus dukh. Dukh means sorrow. These words denote opposite emotional states. We can use these two opposites in the sentence তাৰ জীৱনত সুখতকৈ দুখ বেছি আছিল. তাৰ জীৱনত সুখতকৈ দুখ বেছি আছিল. That means there was more sorrow than happiness in his life. Another important pair is জীবন means life versus mrittu. Mrittu means death. This pair expresses the most fundamental contrast related to existence. Similarly, bondhu. Bondhu means friend versus hotru. Hotru means enemy. This pair expresses opposite human relationships. We may also consider shanti. Shanti means peace versus ashanti. Ashanti means unrest. Arambha. Arambha means beginning versus hek. Hek means end. And puhor. Puhor means light versus andhar. Andhar means darkness. These noun antonyms are highly useful in literary and academic Assamese. Next, let's look at antonyms among adjectives in Assamese. Adjectives are perhaps the most common class where antonyms occur. They describe qualities, attributes, and characteristics. Let us examine some common adjective pairs. For example, bhal means good versus beya means bad. As in, eitu bhal kam. That means this is good work. And eitu beya kam means this is bad work. Another pair is hohos. Hohos means easy versus kothin. Kothin means difficult. These express opposite degrees of difficulty. Another pair, notun means new versus puroni means old, describes age or time related contrast, as in moi notun kitab kinilu, which means I bought a new book. Moi notun kitab kinilu. And eikhon puroni kitab means this is an old book. Eikhon puroni kitab. Similarly, hoktihali. Hoktihali means strong versus durbol. Durbol means weak. Dhoni. Dhoni means rich versus dukhiya. Dukhiya means poor. Dhuniya. Dhuniya means beautiful versus kutsit. Kutsit means ugly. And poriskar. Poriskar means clean versus oporiskar. Oporiskar means dirty or unclean. Such adjective antonyms are widely used in both spoken and written Assamese. Coming to the antonyms among verbs, verbs express action, process, movement, or state, and many verbs naturally occur in opposite pairs. For example, oha. Oha means come versus zoa. Zoa means go. These indicate opposite directions of movement. For example, tumi ialoi aha, which literally means you come here. Tumi ialoi aha. And etia ghoroloi jua. That means go home now. Etia ghoroloi jua. Another common pairs are ut means stand up versus boh. Boh means sit down. Khol. Khol means open versus bondho kor. Bondho kor means close. Zik. Zik means win versus har. Har means lose. Ha. Ha means smile or laugh versus kand. Kand means cry or weep. And de. De means give versus lo. Lo means take. These verb antonyms are extremely important in daily conversation. Let's now look at the morphological formation of antonyms in the Assamese language. A very interesting feature of this language is that many antonyms are formed morphologically through the addition of prefixes. This process is productive and common. One frequently used prefix is o. For example, hot. Hot means honest versus ahot. Ahot means dishonest. Hombhop. Hombhop means possible versus ahombhop. Ahombhop means impossible. Hoseton. Hoseton means conscious versus ahoseton. Ahoseton means unconscious. And nyai. Nyai means justice versus onyai. Onyai means injustice. Another prefix is on, as in anustanik. Anustanik means formal versus onanustanik. Onanustanik means informal. Another productive prefix is obo, as in mullayan. Mullayan means valuation versus obomullayan. Obomullayan means devaluation. This morphological process is significant because it shows that antonyms are not always lexical pairs. Sometimes they are systematically formed through word formation rules. This also reflects the influence of Sanskritic morphology in Assamese vocabulary. We can also find gender-based opposites in antonyms. Thus, some antonymic relationships in Assamese arise from gender distinctions. For example, Lora. Lora means boy versus Suali. Suali means girl. Purukh. Purukh means man versus Mohila. Mohila means woman. And Pitri. Pitri means father versus Matri. Matri means mother. In colloquial Assamese, we often use Pitai, means father, versus I. I means mother. Similarly, Bhai. Bhai means brother versus Bhoni. Bhoni means sister. These opposites are relational and social in nature. They help learners understand kinship terms and gender distinctions in the language. Moving to the contextual meaning of antonyms, let's look at one of the most important aspects of antonyms, that is, the meaning often depends on context. We can consider the pair dangor, means big, versus horu, means small. In one context, it refers to physical size, as in dangor ghor, which means big house, versus horu ghor, means small house. However, in another context, it can refer to social importance, as in teo ejon dangor manu. That means he is an important person, তেওঁ এজন ডাঙৰ মানুহ versus তেওঁ এজন সৰু মানুহ, which means he's an ordinary or less important person. তেওঁ এজন সৰু মানুহ. Thus, the same antonym pair may shift meaning depending on context. Similarly, গভীৰ. গভীৰ means deep versus torang. Torang means shallow. This pair of antonyms may refer to physical depth, but it can also refer to seriousness of thought. This contextual flexibility makes antonyms an interesting area of semantic study. Let's now answer, what is the importance of learning antonyms? Learning antonyms is important for several reasons. First, it helps expand vocabulary systematically. Instead of learning one word at a time, learners acquire words in semantic networks. Second, it improves comprehension. When readers encounter a word in a text, knowledge of its opposite helps them infer meaning. Third, antonyms improve speaking and writing skills by allowing contrastive expression. For example, জীৱন সুখ আৰু দুখৰ সমাহাৰ. জীৱন সুখ আৰু দুখৰ সমাহাৰ. That means life is a combination of happiness and sorrow. Such expressions make language more balanced and expressive. Antonyms are also widely used in literature, poetry, rhetoric, and everyday communication. They help create emphasis and stylistic contrast. To conclude, antonyms called বিপরীত শব্দ in Assamese form an essential part of Assamese vocabulary and semantic structure. They mainly occur across nouns, adjectives, and verbs. They may be lexical, relational, complementary, or morphologically derived. Their meanings may also vary depending on context. A clear understanding of antonyms helps learners develop stronger vocabulary, sharper semantic understanding, and better expressive ability in both spoken and written Assamese. I would encourage all learners to regularly practice antonym pairs and use them in sentences so that they become a natural part of everyday language use. Let's meet again for another important topic where we will learn Assamese by turning weaknesses into strengths. ধন্যবাদ।